Hello, everyone. Hi. We will start in a couple of minutes. So I came here to remind you the lectures are recorded as all summer series. So if you wish, if you don't want to be seen in these recorded videos, please keep the video off. Thank you. We'll start in like a minute. Hello. Thank you for joining our photograph session today. I'm Ozgyn Ozer. Today I will share you my experiences on photography. In my previous, in my previous post, I was both working in flow visualization as a researcher, and also I'm a photographer, a photography instructor in the Chamber of Photography. I studied there as an instructor for 15 years, and in last 3 years I was education manager. So my career is mainly focused on photography in art and science. So today I try to give you a slight vision on that, and I will also try to share some basic information so it will help your photographs. So let's start with the word meaning, etymology. So maybe most of you know photography consists of two Greek words. Photo means lies, false, and graphy means drawing or representing by lines. So when we say photography, it means drawing with light. A stronger definition, or more, what can I say, reliable definition is, this is also one of the, of course, this is one of the definition. An image, especially a positive print, recorded by exposing a photosensitive surface to light, especially in a camera. They say especially in a camera because you need some kind of light setup to create the image. We will talk about it a little bit later. So this is a definition. It is made to cover all our cells and all the aspects. But the most important part is, what does photography mean for us? I mean, by the way, if you can share your definitions to the chat part, I will be glad, but I will explain what I'm trying to say. Let's think that as driving. So driving has some definition, legally, of course, to make laws and communication, basically. But in the end, when you say what is driving meant for you, it has a wider spread of answers, because it's not defined for an Uber driver or a regular driver or a Formula One driver. It doesn't give the same meaning to all of us. So if you share your definition of photography, I'll be glad. Let me open my chat so I can see if any answers are there. Yeah. Yeah. Capturing live, yes. Yeah, there's always a relation recording a place or event. Yeah, thank you, Mark. Yeah. By the way, capturing live or capturing the moment is the most famous and most common answer I get. Memories, right? Keeping memories through snapshots. Thank you. So, yes. One more, I don't want to miss. Yeah, recording wildlife. Thank you, Bernard. Also, observation. Thank you. Yep. So when we look at our answers, it's generally we found a more stronger platform as a definition because it includes our experiences. Generally, photography classified in 4 areas. This is a very common thing. It's, for example, Royal Photographic Society also suggests this division, and Modern Arts, Museum of Modern Arts in US also uses the same. So they strictly divide art from the other sides of photography, and there is science and industrial photography, which we use for technical reasons like flow visualization, astronomic photography, infrared microscopy in healthcare businesses, and there is commercial ones where you gain money for doing that, and the databases which we generally do. But this classification is a little bit artificial because it's coming from the foundation of the photography, when it was the times that photographers trying to be accepted as artists, and painters basically resisting this change because they don't want to lose their jobs. So they assaulted photography on the creative ground, and so the artists are trying to save themselves, but sacrificing other types of photography. But let's say if you read a book on photography art, you will see this description. But yeah, our daily photographs can be art. Most of them says no, but then we have Viviane Meyer. Most of you may have heard of her. She's basically a nanny, lived in America, and her photographs found a couple of years after her death. Before that, she never had an exhibition. She was just shooting for herself, just most of us, but she is really an enthusiast. She has more than 150,000 images, so she really captured the life on that time. So yeah, when we have this separation, and separating daily life photography from art is totally artificial. Another subject that I can give from my work, this is from one of my exhibitions, it's called Abstract Art, Solid Science. I basically used the images that I used in the published papers of mine, and use these images as abstract art, as I presented as abstract art. But the viewers doesn't know at the beginning it was an interactive exhibition, so people are wandering around thinking that it's abstract art, but in the end we thought it through, and it was really interesting exhibition. Basically, most of them are computational images, some of them are directly photographs, so there is always a relation between science and art, art and daily life, commercial and art. These cannot be divided in sense of photography. So what is this common point? I can say that there are 3 strong points that every photographer gives to contribute to their photographs: their existence, presence, their point of view, and lastly, technique, which I think you will enjoy more. Let's speak about existence a short time. Here is a basic question that makes all understand, I think. How many people can take a photo of you right now? When you think of that, you will find the answer if you accept the screenshots, then I can count all of you. But if I'm meaning to directly photograph with camera, then it means only my wife and my daughter can take my photographs right now. So basically, you put your existence to your photographs. Photographers can only shoot a certain period of time. This is 1950s from Turkey, a dance image. This is Istanbul. And for example, this is a bear dancer. I can say it's, I think, a kind of a local thing. It was a local thing. It's banned right now. There was a community who trains bears, brown bears, and they make them dance. Of course, it's not animal rights thing, but it was banned later in Turkey. But it's captured by the photographer Ozgyn Ozer, also my father, and I cannot shoot this event because it's already finished. I will show another example. Most of you know this marvelous photograph. It's also an iconic one. We can say that it's the Mona Lisa of the photography, taken by Steve McCurry in 1983, as I remember. But we were saying that we add our existence. He found this lovely little girl and shoot her image. But if he couldn't find her at the right time, he will have a totally different image. In the right, the photographer is also Steve McCurry. He found her, I think, 15 years later of the initial photograph, and gave the same pose and tried to shoot it. It's very valuable in sense of it's representing a woman's life, how it changed in 15 years in Afghanistan, but it's also shows us you can only shoot your environment as you exist. So it's very valuable, and it's a very important part of the photography. So as the first, we put our existence. Secondly, we add our viewpoint. This is a very wide area, including neurosciences and also psychology. So I will just show you an experiment that I made. This is a place in Izmir, Turkey. I choose this area for my test. I invited 10 photography students for a shooting, and this test, of course, to a point. It's called Ingeraltı. There is a sea museum there. There's a retired warship and a submarine. Here, some fishermen, and expensive boats are here, and there are lots of interesting stuff. So I choose this area, invite 10 people, and gave them a circle around. It has, I think, 1 meter diameter, and gave them the same camera, so they can only shoot from that circle with the same camera, but it has a quite well zoom, so they can be creative. So I request them to shoot images from that circle. As you can see, I'm trying to eliminating the existence, so they all exist in the same circle, but they are putting their point of view. So these are some samples. One of them preferred shooting a portrait with a warship background, but some of them completely neglected the warship and tried to shoot the fisherman or seaman. One goes back and turn back and shoot this statue. Some of them wants to shoot the obvious, the as one of our friends commented, the area, and another one is just doesn't care about the area and just want to see some motion. So basically, even we live in the same time, and even we has positioned in the same circle, we have some different point of views. So we try to show them in photography. These two has one common thing, different than the technique. The common thing is they are trivial, which I mean, if I take my camera to the street right now and give the first person that I saw, and I demand a photograph from her or him, he has an existence and he has a point of view. So these are existing in all humans, even if you know photography or not. They both can be enhanced, upgraded, of course. For example, every movie you see, everything you watch, everything you read has a very strong effect on your point of view, of course, we all know that. And also, existence can be upgraded by focusing on photography, which means, like, for example, I change my whole life and come to England to meet you, these beautiful people, and also with my colleague Mark Queen, we are trying to shoot an image that has never taken before. So your existence also can be upgraded or can be more focused. Your point of view can also get upgraded, but you already have some kind of existence and some kind of point of view. But technique generally creates difference. And when I say technique, when I talk with most of people, technique is understood as a binary concept. I'm trying to say that if you have a good technique, you can shoot a photograph, but if you had a bad technique or if you don't know enough photography, you can't. But this is not true. Technique gives you more area of representation. I will explain you. So the common thing in photography, of course, is the camera. So this is camera obscura, basically a closed box with a hole on it. So when we place a object in front of this camera obscura, the light scatter everywhere, but a light ray can go through this pinhole but other lights scattered from the same points can't. So this point only can see the tip of this arrow. In the same way, the bottom side of the arrow can be seen here. So basically it's filtering all other and only letting one point to one point. This is called a pinhole camera, camera obscura. It's found in different places of the world, but the first written what can I say, proof is written by Mozi, a Chinese philosopher. So you can have the image here. So this is not itself basically a photography machine, or it's not a photography camera, but it's, if we add some extra properties, it becomes a camera. We need, first system is focusing system. As you see, we need to rearrange light to create image. In our recent cameras, it's called lens and aperture. We also need a photosensitive plate, which will record the photography, the image. And we also need a shutter system, because if we have this hole always open, and if we have photosensitive material here, then we cannot form an image because we will continue to get light on it on and on, so it will be burned. So we need a certain amount of time to capture our image to decide what to shoot. So, yeah, it was not working this morning, so I'm very happy that it works right now. Yeah, so you will see how shutter works. I showed this video for you. So you are seeing a 1.1 yes, 30th of a second. So when you press the shutter button, there is less. Imagine there's a film here with secured with this door. You make your framing and you press your shutter, and then the shutter opens and get a certain amount of light inside, and then it closes. So it is using for capturing the motion, and it's also adjust the amount of light, but capturing motion is more important than adjusting amount of light, because there is 3 different settings that you can adjust your light. So it's like a chess game. You have some needs in motion. We will discuss also depth of field a little bit later. You also some needs on that. So you try to adjust these settings to create what you want to see. So I will show you. Yeah, I will share my screen. I will share my camera. Yeah. Yeah, I think you are right now seeing my whole. Yeah. Sorry. Yes. So I have a little setup here to discuss the shutter speed. Yeah, we got the control. Great. Yeah. So we have a Newton cradle here, and let me show you the setup. I think you can see. I can see myself, so I hope you are seeing something good. Yeah. So this is our first image. As you can see, we use 25 shutter speed. It's 25th of a second, and we capture the motion of the ball. So if we want a still image, we need to increase our shutter speed. Let's make it like maybe 300. And I will balance my light with increasing my ISO. Yeah. So you are on live view again. Here's our first image, shoot by 25 shutter speed, and here is 320. So when we increase our shutter speed, we are shooting the image in a shorter time. So, for example, this is my hand, and you are shooting this as an object, let's say. It moves in like in 30 shutter speed, it moves like that, and in 300, it moves like that. So you basically have a still image in your camera. So when I show this and tell this, generally people tend to think that so higher shutter speed is good because at the beginning of our talk, our lecture, we said that capturing, recording the moment is an important sense of photography, and it's totally true. But motion is also a way of representation in photograph. I will give you an example. So, yeah. Here is a photograph of a bird, and I have two questions. And my request is, I will ask you two questions, and I want you to answer as fast as possible. It's not an exam, but it will show you your reflex on the image. Okay, so please type as fast as you can. So the question one is coming. Is this bird flapping? Opening chat. Thank you. Yeah, since we saw the bird's wings motion, we are, I guess, every one of us as sure because it's flapping. The second question is here. Which direction is it flying? Is it going right, up, down? Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, hovering is another good answer. Yeah, it can be anything, yes, of course. So basically, when we select shutter speed, yes, we adjust the light in our camera, but more importantly, we decide what will be fixed and what will be in motion. And motion also tells us a story in the photography. So basically, this is also straightly related with the Heisenberg's theory of I forgot his name. Sorry, you know, yeah, okay. So Heisenberg's theory. So if you choose uncertainty, thank you very much. I was remembering his Turkish name, but suddenly it's gone the English name. So yes, it's directly related with uncertainty theory. So if you want to show the form of the bird, if you want to see the wings, then you will lose its motion. And basically, I will show you another image I shoot before. Just a second, please. Yeah. Yeah. I shoot this one before the lecture, and it seems like it's not moving, but if you look at it carefully here, there's slight motion. It was doing the same thing that we did a couple of minutes ago. So when you shoot a still image, you tell the form, but you gave up from the motion. So this is why I said the photographer can contribute to a photograph in 3 different ways, and the third one is technique, because you use technique to tell something. It's not to achieve or not to achieve an image. It's a way of telling an image. Yep. So, yep. I will show you another setup, another property of the photography. So this is called aperture. You see there is a large area, the light coming through, but we can adjust that. So it is used to manipulate something called depth of field. Depth of field means is the total focused area in your image. I will also show you this with my setup. Yep. So I will put some plants behind. I hope it's nice. But good, maybe a little bit over here. Yep. Much better. So I will also get a little closer to. Yes. Now I will change my focus back to radiator. If I say please, will it do it? Okay, I will use my hand. So our balls are not in focus. Now our plant in focus and our balls is not, and I focus the spheres, and then plant is not focused. So the camera lens works like that. It focuses on a certain distance, and the area in front of and the backward of it is called depth of field. So you can manipulate this by changing your aperture. So I will increase my, I will take 2 different images here. Yeah. One with these settings. And open aperture. Here's our photograph. And I will close my aperture. We will get a dark one right now. Yeah. So see, I use the same setting that I used. Then I close my aperture because the light came from a smaller aperture. It goes dark, but I will rebalance by increasing time. So as you see, everything is enlightened again. But I also want you to look at the plant behind. So we are focusing on spheres. and plant is totally not focused in the first image, but in the second one, plant has a better focus. So because we increase the depth of field. So as I said, it's like a chess game. You have your shutter speed related with motion, and you have your aperture and other optical stuff to manipulate your depth of field. So when you are shooting an image, you decide between these ones to get the right amount of light, but also to show what you are trying to show. So these spheres can be your family, and the plant can be the touristic scene that you want to see. And if you go like that, yeah, it will be still a nice photograph of your family, but you won't know if it's France or London or wherever it is. On the other hand, if you have some motion, again, yeah. So maybe your daughter is slightly out of not focused well because she's running around. But if you increase your shutter speed also, you can balance it. There is a third setting called ISO, which is defined the amount of light you need to create an image. So you can increase it. Basically, you can increase it to shoot images in low light. It's basically have different meaning in film photography and digital photography, but in digital photography, we can say it decreases the need of your light, but it gives some disadvantage called noise. So because you are working with a smaller signal, you have a stronger noise, and it makes your photographs a little bit pointy and it decreases our image quality. So you are trying to adjust these three. So I'll try to show you another interesting example, what you can do with your photography technique. I will try to use these settings. So you can, as we speak, you can use your shutter speed to capture objects in motion. But you can also use it to disappear, make them disappear. So yeah, just a second, please. I'm setting my well. This is it. Okay. So right now you are seeing my living room a little bit darkly, but the image will be fine. So I will also turn the laptop to see what's happening. I hope you are seeing, because as I said, I'm not seeing myself right now. So, I set my camera to have a okay. I set my camera to shoot a 10-second image. This means my shutter will be open for 10 seconds and I will move around and let's see what we will see. Okay, so I press my shutter button. I use my hand in front of it. I go to sit. and then move around. So here is what we have. So you see a ghost of me because I am exposed in half of the photograph. So I basically walk around, I move my hand around, but you don't see it because it's not exposed enough to be seen in the image. So I go there, sit a couple of seconds, which why you have my ghost there, and then walked away. So in the end, when you are sitting in a room, yeah, you have your existence there, and the thing that you want to shoot is your point of view. Maybe you want to shoot a flower, maybe you want to take a selfie. And the third step is your technique. If you know how to manage your camera and understand what this photography is, then you will have different selections of image that you can create. So let's think for a second about automatic shooting. When you use your camera in auto mode, you can still shoot great images. I'm not an enemy of the auto mode, but I want you to think reverse of it. What is an automatic mode? The automatic mode is a mode that designed by a group of engineers and photographers, and they are trying to guess what an ordinary person will shoot in every situation. Because yes, they cannot add everything in an automatic mode. So the camera only works like a standard image. So the thing I'm trying to say is, if you use your auto mode, you can still have some great images, but in another sense, it's also, if it's seen well, at least your environment is an ordinary environment. You are not pushing the limits of photography. You will still have beautiful memories on the back, but it's hard to create something new with the auto mode because it's just the default, you know. So I will share my screen again. So aperture depth of field is also affected by other things. It's focal length. It's a very technical drawing. I'm sorry if it's not so clear, but this is this area is inside of your camera. It's your sensor, and this is your objective area. So it represents the area that you see. It's called focal length. It basically adjusts your angle of view. So when it gets smaller, let me draw. When you have a smaller focal length, then you will have another ugly drawing, sorry. You will have a wider angle, and if you have a longer focal length like this, you will have a so basically this is the reason why photographers in the football match has big long lenses. So it also affects the depth of field. I will try to show you. So I'm in widening mode. It's 24 millimeter. So you can see in yeah, just a second. I want you to see it more quality. Let's make it. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah. Here you see a wide angle, and I will go closer and closer. You can see that the depth of field gets more narrow. I mean, when I have the wide angle, you can see even the house at the outside. It was also focused, but when I extended my lens and increased my focal length, my depth of field also decreased. So if you have a higher focal length and close up to the image more, then you will lose depth of field. So you can use this combination to shoot beautiful images. So if you, for example, you have a 55 millimeter lens, 18-55 the default lens. Maybe if you have a camera, you will have it. So if you use the 55, then you will have a smaller depth of field. So if you are shooting a portrait, you can just defocus the background. But if you are shooting a landscape, then you maybe want to use a little bit larger view to increase the depth of field and see everything in focus without increasing your aperture too much. So thank you for your kind attention. I hope you enjoy this because yeah, in generally I had my classes for 2 years. My course in Turkey was a 2 years course for the students, and generally I had 2 hours to tell one of these concepts like depth of field or motion. So I try to summarize some of the information to give you an idea about photography. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you have some questions, I can happily take them. Yeah. Thanks a lot for joining this session. I really enjoyed. I hope you enjoyed it too. Thanks again, Husam, for uncertainty, and thank you all for your answers and contribution to the slides. The software, it is Digicam Control. It's a freeware. I will write my answer. Yeah, it's freeware, and it basically you just connect your camera with USB cable. I have a very long one, like 5 meters. Sorry, 3 meters. So it's Can I ask what is your? Yeah, my personal camera is Nikon D 850. The brand is basically related about history. The first camera my father bought was a Nikon. By the way, I'm not a fan of any model or any company, but when you buy a Nikon, you continue with the same equipment because you buy lenses, and when you have some lenses, then you need to go with the same equipment to not to replace your lenses again. So basically, if you are going into the photography, you must decide very carefully to what to use, because basically you are marrying with the company. And if you want to go to another company, it is really, really expensive because one of my colleagues shifted to Nikon to Sony, and it's like, I can say that it's more than 10 grand to shift professional equipment totally. So try to find the camera maker of your life and trying to get that camera. And additionally, there is no difference. I was advising to Sony, and I also work with other companies, and I can say that there isn't so many difference between brands, so any camera can do your job. But right now, Sony and Fuji is going well. So if you want to a company has a better future, these can be good places to put your money. By the way, I have like 5 different camera sets. Nikon is my main, but I have also other cameras. For example, for the lecture, I use the Mamiya analog camera to show these concepts to you. Yeah, did I miss anything? Yeah. Please don't hesitate to contact me in person if you have something to ask, or if you just want to talk about photography. It's my passion, so it will be a pleasure as today. Yeah. Thank you very much. Thank you for joining me. Yeah, you are so kind. And have a lovely, great week. How can you control shutters from the camera? Yeah, thank you again for the questions. I will show you from my screen. Most of the cameras has some rollers like that. So, and because the aperture and the shutter speed is the most important settings, they generally have dedicated rollers for that. So just choose your camera mode, like aperture or manual or whatever you like, and then you adjust the related setting with just rolling this. And also in your behind screen, I know it's reverse, but yeah, okay. So yeah, you see the numbers changing. Yeah, and in an ordinary camera, you can go till 1/8000 to 30 seconds. So you adjust aperture shutter speed like that. It's a pleasure. Thanks again for joining. Have a great week. I hope you enjoyed. See you all in more healthy and beautiful days, I hope. Keep safe. Have a great week. Thank you.